So it's been almost exactly 6 months since LG released the B10, or the BX, depending on what you call it. And in that time, the price has actually reduced by a further 20%, or something around that figure. I'll leave the latest link to the latest price in your area in the description. But in 2021, is this TV still worth considering? Let's find out. So guys, just for full disclosure, I have purchased this TV. I'm not being asked to say anything good or bad about it. I would really appreciate a thumbs up. It does help the YouTube algorithm. So when we did the first unboxing of the BX, we were absolutely blown away with the quality of the picture. It did have the slightly inferior processor to the CX or the C10, and so that's really where it was a little bit different. And what we found when we did the head-to-head review, which I'll leave a link to in the description, is that the C10 just seemed to perform better in terms of the overall image quality, just very, very slightly, and it was only when they were exactly head-to-head that you saw any difference at all. But the B10 was still a fantastic and very affordable machine, but now with it being 20% off, well, it's got even better. And what we've got this time is we finally got hold of the PS5, and so I'll be able to show you how it performs with the PS5. Now, another consideration is that this year there will be a A1 OLED, an LG A1, available in 48, 55, 65 and 77 inch sizes. Now, this is not going to be 4K at 120Hz, so this is going to be more of just a TV OLED, one that's not designed for gamers, but that's going to be interesting in the mix as well. Now, one of the first considerations is design. If you buy this TV in 2021, it's not going to be that you're buying some type of ancient antique. In fact, it's going to look almost identical to the 2021 model. In terms of the C10 last year, the only difference between the B10 and the C10 was pretty much the stand. That was the only physical thing that you could look at it and say, it's different. Its design is absolutely stunning. That thinness of that top part of that screen is just, still now when I look at it, I just think it's incredible and I wonder how they do it. It is amazing. And I just think that it is overall a beautiful machine to look at. Another consideration are HDMI ports. Now, the great thing with the B10 is it had two HDMI 2.1 ports, giving you 4K at 120Hz. It does, however, suffer from the same problem as most OLEDs, and that's reflections, as this image shows. So I have this in my office, my studio, which is where I spend most of my time. It tends to be my TV for gaming, my TV for watching a lot of sport, and so therefore, over the past 6 months, I've definitely gotten to know how good this TV is. And believe me, I see very little difference between this, the B10, and the C10 which I've got downstairs. Almost identical. I don't have any issues at all with this TV. The one thing that I've not been able to test until very recently was the PlayStation 5. It's just taken me absolutely ages to get hold of one. But boy, it is absolutely amazing the difference between the PlayStation 4 on this TV and the PlayStation 5. It is stunning. It is just incredible to look at. And I'm looking back at this image now when I'm voicing over the video, and it definitely doesn't do it quite justice. So if you think that this looks good now, believe me, it is 50, 60, 70% better in reality. It is just so crystal clear sharp, and the gameplay is absolutely exceptional. In the course of the next week, I've got a couple of other videos coming out. One is going to be how the PlayStation 5 is on the C10 compared to the B10, and I'll have those side by side, so if you're considering getting either one of those, you'll be able to see the difference. And also I'm going to be doing another update on one of my favourite TVs of 2020, which is the XH90 or the X900H from Sony, and again we'll look at bringing in the addition of the PlayStation 5 and seeing how that performs, because in my opinion that's one of the biggest bargain TVs that you can still buy. One other thing to bear in mind as well, folks, is some of these TVs are going to start to disappear. What we found last year when the C9 was out is that I was thinking of buying the C9 just to do a comparison with the C10, yet it disappeared almost immediately after the C10 was released. And so therefore, you've really got a window of about 3 or 4 months where these TVs, the B10, the C10, probably the Sony X900H, and same with some of the Samsung TVs, will probably start to disappear. You might be able to get them in some lesser well-known retailers, but the main retailers will stop selling these because they'll be pushing the flagship models. Now, a couple of reminders if you're buying this TV. It comes with a central stand, which actually has got quite a lot of depth to it. So you do need a unit which is around 9 or 10 inches deep. But the good thing is that it's a central stand, so therefore it doesn't need to be as wide. So if you've got a smaller unit, then you're okay. One thing to bear in mind is that central slope means that if you've got a tall soundbar, and I mean a soundbar over 2 inches in height, then you're probably going to be cutting off some of your screen. If you're going to be wall mounting it, well, there's no problem. When I did my original review and I was comparing it against the C10, I was really trying to be picky to find some big differences. And what I thought is that if I only had the B10 and then I went into a separate room a day later and looked at the C10, I don't think I would have been able to have noticed anything really that different. When you had them side by side, I guess the C10 with its faster processor definitely felt a little bit more speedy. But guys, this is minor and it's definitely not a problem and wouldn't be a problem to most people. Some of the issues that we spoke about on the original review have now been resolved. So some of the apps, certainly here in the UK, the on-demand services, they are now pretty much all now within the original software, so you can now download those from the App Store. So the problem that I had with those at the time is definitely no longer the case. So again, like with a lot of these TVs, they do seem to get better, and the software gets better in time. But when it comes down to picture quality, there's very little, if you're in a darker room which hasn't got those reflections, there's very little that you can do to beat an OLED. And I'm really looking forward this year to getting the Sony. I missed out on the Sony last year, but this year I've pre-ordered the Sony A8 and so I'm very, very excited about comparing that to my C10 and then again to the C1 when that comes out. So those wondering what the C10 is like with the PlayStation, if you are looking at going out and purchasing this before I do my side-by-side, they're almost identical. Certainly I've got the C10 downstairs, the B10 upstairs, and without having them side-by-side, I definitely couldn't tell any difference between the look of them and also the operation in terms of the quality. This is World Rally Championship, and boy, is that a hard game. I'm literally off the road within about less than that, 5 seconds of starting every single race. It's incredible. Very, very difficult. If you're thinking about getting that game, guys, you might want to go for something else. But certainly in terms of picture quality, in terms of everything else, the B10 really, really is a great machine. Let me know what your thoughts are. Is this the type of TV that you're going to be going for, or are you going to be holding out for a 2021 model? Is there a particular model that you'd like me to have a look at and like me to review? So as I mentioned, I've got coming up the C10 versus the B10 PlayStation comparison. That will be coming in the next few days, and also we're going to be looking at the Sony XH90 or X900H depending on where you are, giving an update on that brilliant TV, on how that is with the PlayStation 5 as well, and let me know if there's anything else you want me to feature and I'll do my best to do that. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It does help if you do hit that thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm. I look forward to seeing you on the next one, and I can't wait to get back started with the 2021 TVs.